All right, y'all. So, Cheryl, you are joining us for a client spotlight. And first off, I just wanted to say thanks, Cheryl, for taking the time to jump on the podcast with us to dig on into this.
Absolutely.
And Chuck and I are going to kind of like, I think, tag team some questions. We want to dig into some things. And one of the cool things about you, Cheryl, is that you've also been able to come on board to help with LOF, with lifestyle of fitness on the back end side of things, with a lot of different tasks and variables. But actually, how our relationship started was from a client perspective. So I wanted to dig into your experience when we first met and when we.
I lost the audio.
Yeah, he unplugged himself. He definitely unplugged himself. Look at, he's completely lost, Cheryl. So I'm going to take over. I don't know the story about how you and Mike first met. So why don't you go into detail? How did you first run across meeting Mr. Mike Callow?
Okay, well, so I decided that I was desperate for a program. Okay, I had gained about 65 pounds. I'd lost 100, and then I gained back 65 of it due to a thyroid issue. And so I was really desperate for a program. And as it turned out, I just happened upon Mike kind of accidentally. And we had so much in common right from the get-go because he had been a fighter and he worked with the gyms. And I am a UFC judge and also have judged professional boxing, kickboxing, and MMA for 15, 16 years. So we had that connection. And then we were just really able to, make that connection and move forward and deal with some of the issues that I was having with the weight, that I was really at a desperate point at that particular time.
Yeah. Would you say it was more on the nutrition side of things that you needed help or more on the fitness side of things that you needed help? Or a
mainly
little bit of both?
Well, both definitely, but I had off and on done training and I had trained kickboxing and MMA, and I have always had a weight problem, always from age 10 on. So have never been what you would consider a normal weight. But I have always been very active. And so particularly in the martial arts community. And so I enjoyed that, but the nutrition end of it was bad for a long time.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's where you found the benefit of meeting Mike. And Mike, coming from just meeting Cheryl for the first time, what did you identify are the things that you could kind of assist Cheryl and kind of guide her in the right direction on?
Yeah, that's a great question, Chuck. And that's one of the first things that why I like when we jump on assessment calls, we get to first communicate with the client, digging into some of the strengths that already exist and that are already there, and kind of piggybacking what you said, Cheryl. Like, since we had such common ground in martial arts and what I know about, the experience it will usually lead to with martial arts and what it takes from some strengths, I saw a lot of those strengths in Cheryl. And being able to say, hey, you have discipline, you have dedication, you have passion, and being able to highlight and pull out, how do we apply that to not only your training, but how do we look at the nutrition and make those educated choices that are going to also be sustainable as well? Because like to Cheryl's point of, when you struggle with weight, and that's something I can relate to, especially in my childhood and things around that, not necessarily aligning my nutritional choices with the goals that I had or understanding how that impacts all the aspects of my life. That was something I wanted to bring kind of out in her is, hey, I'll help create this plan, but you're already doing a lot of great things. How do we just complement that and then make it sustainable at the end of the day? And then now to where we're at with Cheryl, being able to maintain those results and having a net positive impact on the quality of life. But I don't want to speak too much for the results that you saw, Cheryl, or what you even saw on that end.
Did we lose Cheryl?
No. But I didn't hear the last question.
So it was more of kind of like, I didn't even actually pose the question. It was more of a recap on what we were kind of digging into with what I was bringing to the table. And then I didn't want to speak too much for what you saw from it. But one of the things I wanted to dig into there, so we talked about, how we first met and looking at from my perspective, what I tried to bring to the table or highlight there, what your experience was. I'm curious at the end of it, what you saw was the biggest value, and maybe whether it's a problem solving aspect or one of the things that you took away, the biggest valuable component of it that we can even kind of like piggyback on and lead into, and that you saw from it that could be helpful for the audience to know too.
I think the accountability piece was really important, and the regular contact. And I also know that, you know, if I needed to, I could contact you, even though it was outside the scope of the program. And I think that's one thing that has been so impressive about this program. And one reason I wanted to get involved as an accountability coach is because it's not about the money. You know, the weight loss industry is a multi-billion dollar industry, as everybody knows. And usually you see things come across on social media and it's like, yeah, okay. I wonder if that'll work, or do they really mean, you know, what they say? You know, I'm way beyond a quick fix. I've had this problem for 50 years, and it's only been in the last couple of years that I have really felt like I have a handle on it. But with this program and with this coaching situation, I really feel like it's definitely a lifeline, and it's something that's not just going to go away. Okay, you know, you paid $30 for your month, and we've done our 15 minutes, and so now good luck with that. I'll talk to you in 30 days. It's not like that. And all of the programs are sustainable, and they're reasonable, and you have support. And I think that's probably the most important aspect of the program.
Yeah, I think that's one thing that is, and speaking from my experience with it as well, and that's the reason I decided to get involved with Mike as well, is yeah, money's great and we would like to grow and build the business as much as possible. But for us, it's more about helping people and making sure that we can get our database and our network and our education that we've gone through to as many people as possible to help them ease into a healthier lifestyle. I do it all the time. My wife yells at me constantly. I should be charging more. I should be taking money from people. You know, if somebody has, you know, somebody walks through that door and takes the step through the door to want to walk a healthier path, I'm more than willing to walk that path with them. And I'm okay with, you know, hey, if you can throw me a couple bucks here and there to help you out, great. If not, it's okay too. I just want to help people walk that healthier path. And that's what, you know, makes us at Lifestyle of Fitness different from a lot of other social media fitness coaches and things that you see out there. That, and to me, that's one thing that drives me crazy about online fitness coaches is, yeah, you pay for a service and then you never hear from that person again. I have clients that were paying clients in the past that, you know, we worked with them for a couple months, and then they went off on their own, which is what ultimately we want to see happen, that I still reach out to every couple of weeks to see how they're doing. So yeah, that's a big takeaway for me as to what you said, Cheryl.
Yeah, and even just piggybacking on that component of it is like, obviously, yes, this is like, even for me, like this is a business, this is how I like feed my family, all those things. But I think at the end of the day, if we can, I always like that idea, and shout out to Joe DeFranco. I pulled this from him, like over delivering and undercharging. And I think there's also a component of like obviously valuing your time and valuing what you do, but over delivering and going beyond the expectations we set. We try and even set those expectations really high, and being able to take care of everyone, to give again a net positive experience. Because even the business side of it, if I take money out of the equation for a second, I did this to change the world and have a net positive impact, and being able to work with people at the end of the day that also want to show up. Because that's the other thing, Cheryl, that, you know, I've also had clients like, I can do everything on my end, or Chuck can, or the rest of our team can, but unless you're willing to show up, it's not going to matter. So that's something I actually wanted to pose to you as well, with a kind of piggybacking question on what we've talked about so far. You've seen success. There's been that value and accountability, having the plan, knowing the direction. But like, even if we take that out of the equation, you had to get started. You had to take action on that. What do you attribute you being able to take action, to even getting your foot in the door to get started beyond where we stepped into play?
Well, I think that, you get to a point in life, some early, some later, where you really want every opportunity to live your best life. And you see that, perhaps you're not. Maybe it's health issues, maybe it's weight issues, maybe it's a mindset. And at a certain point, then you have to say, no, this just isn't working for me. And I need to make some changes, and I need to find some assistance to make those changes in order to live my best life. And, I'm older and retired. And so it's especially important, I think, for me, that I do everything I can to maximize my health and my fitness level. And, I've always had the mindset that, I'm not going to allow age or weight or whatever to stop me. I did my first, not MMA, my first kickboxing match at 55 with a 20-year-old opponent in front of a crowd, in Milwaukee. And I still remember every second of that. And I remember the crowd gasping when the announcer said, and in this corner at 55 years old, and in this corner at 20, and you could hear an audible gasp from the crowd. Was like, did he say 55? Really? And, it was one of the greatest nights of my life. And so I'm still at that point, I'm not going to allow anything or anyone to keep me from trying something. I may fail miserably, but I don't plan on failing. But again, it's the mindset of, this is something I want to do, and I'm going to do it, and we'll see what happens.
I think that is the most well said point I've ever really heard on any of our podcasts right there, Cheryl. So I commend you on, number one, identifying the fact that you felt the need to take a step. You knew you needed something different in your life, and you took the opportunity to reach out and find it. And the other thing is that, you have that mindset of failure could be there. You don't intend to go and fail, but you're okay if it does happen. Those are two really big points that I just took away from what you just said, is the willingness and the identifying that you need to make a change. And it's okay if I fail. I don't intend to fail, but it is okay if I do. And also reaching out to get help. I mean, ultimately, I live by the motto of every coach needs a coach. Obviously, you have a lot of experience in the health and fitness community and fighting and everything. And you've been a coach yourself and trained yourself. But listen, I'm a strength and conditioning coach. I'm a nutrition coach. I'm a personal trainer. And I myself have Mike as a resource. And I also, work with the Franco's gym as well. And I have them writing me courses as well right now. So I'm a very firm believer of that motto. And if you feel the need that you need to change something in your life, definitely reach out to get that help. So kudos to you for that, Cheryl.
Thank you.
And one thing I want to just to like Chuck's point, I 100% agree with that. Got to drop the 100% and piggybacking on. Those are my favorite terms. And
It's
being able to
Cheryl, it's constantly with Mike. It's 100%. And to piggyback on what Chuck just said, that's what we deal with constantly.
And I'm going to do that again here. So one thing that jumps out to me is, and I can already anticipate people in the audience or people listening and like watching and whatnot, asking this question. It's like, all right, well, that's all well and good, but like, I don't know if I'm ready for that yet, or I don't know where to get started. So kind of having gone through this experience and coming out the other end with the results, I'm curious if you could talk to your former self, Cheryl, or talk to anyone else out there that hasn't gotten started yet. What are some of the things, if it's one thing, two things, multiple things, what are some of the things that you would tell your prior self before getting started here, or somebody else that's asking this question, coming to you saying, hey, Cheryl, I want to make a change. I just don't know where to start, or I don't know what to do. What would you want to say to that person or to yourself in a prior situation if it were 5 years ago or something like that?
Well, the first thing that I would say is, no excuses. We are all very prone to making excuses. It really doesn't matter whether it's weight loss or, going up in your job or taking a chance, changing jobs, you know, moving to a new community, whatever. And there's always some excuse. And, you know, I like to say that it's not about losing the weight. It's losing the weight, W-A-I-T. And excuse me, by that, I mean, you know, don't wait until tomorrow. Don't wait until after vacation. Don't wait until you're thinner. You've lost 10 pounds. And maybe I can go to the gym after I lose 10 pounds. No, just eliminate the word wait from your mind and from your actions, and you'll lose the weight.
I think that's going to be one of my favorite quotes from any of the podcasts we're going to do. It's definitely my favorite quote so far to any of the podcasts we've done. And that I just can't I can't stress that enough, how much I enjoy that quote and that idea of removing the hesitation, removing that pause, that wait, the W-A-I-T, waiting for that. Because that's something I hear either at the gym, either when I was, you know, as a fitness director, working with Chuck back in the day in Long Island, people saying, oh, well, I want to lose some weight before I get into these kind of classes. Or even at Rogue when I'm helping out with our fighters, or I see people wanting to take that step or get signed up, like, oh, well, I got to get in better shape before I even do that. But being able to say, hey, no, I'm going to do this. Or to your point, going on vacation. My point to that, I want to just kind of elaborate on that is, guess what? You're going to eat still, right? No matter what's going on, it may not be the perfect time, but there's no perfect time. I almost equate it to like, people say this about having kids, right? There's no perfect time to have kids. There's no perfect time beyond right now to make a change and to get started, because you're still going to eat every single day. I don't care how busy you are. You're going to eat. You're going to be having to go to sleep. You're going to have to deal with stress. You're going to do all these things anyway. Why not at least start to invest in making little adjustments or adaptations, or at least taking notes and observing what's going on, so that can lead to change. And a win can be something small, just like, hey, I'm not going to change anything. I'm just going to take pictures of everything I'm eating today and share it with my coach, or share it with an accountability buddy. So that's something I think it's awesome, is removing the weight and just adding in taking action to be able to get the ball rolling. And then, you know, something I've talked about with Ashley and Chuck, we've talked about in the past, is it's kind of the reverse of people think motivation leads to action. It's really action will lead you to being motivated and building upon that.
Oops.
What do you think, Jeff?
I agree 100%. I mean, ultimately, if we continue to like push you off and postpone, and, you know, we're never ready to hit our goals, we're never going to hit our goals. So, you know, to pushing off that weight, to eliminating the weight, you know, I'm going to wait until I get this done to do this, or I'm going to wait until I get this done to do this. Ultimately, you're just pushing off your goals. And, you know, and that's what I'm talking about by opening that door and jumping in with both feet first. You ultimately have to, instead of putting it off to, and, you know, I'm going to wait until I get this done to do this, or wait until I get this done to do this, open that door and run right through it. Because ultimately, by doing something like that, by putting off that weight, like Cheryl said, you're going to ultimately start your path faster than what you would be, you know, pushing off. Listen, it's like with anything in life. If you want to start a new job or a new career, I'm going to wait until I do this to do this. No, you're ultimately going to postpone it until the point where you're like, you know what, I'm never going to do it. So I'm not going to do it. I'm comfortable where I am. So open up the door and run through to gain those opportunities. That's what I took away from what Cheryl was saying right there. And that's ultimately, if you want to hit your goals in life, whether it be new career, whether it be a new fitness journey, whether it be a new hobby, whatever it is, you have to be willing to open up that door and run right through it.
That's a great recap. And Cheryl, I want to leave it to you, but I also wanted to say, like, you know, we could go on and look at all these different angles. And I think, Cheryl, we're going to have you come back on for multiple podcasts to dig into just like your career background, because you have a great experience. And I think there's so much value looking at that, looking at to the martial arts side of things, looking at to how like contributing here. But I really want to take this time to, again, highlight and use it as a spotlight for you to kind of help shed light to others that are thinking about taking action, and for also Bruno to be able to understand what he's got to do from a dog perspective, because I see Bruno's joining Chuck over there. So with all that being said, I want to start to, we'll wrap it up, and I want to leave the stage to you here for a second, Chuck, to highlight too and to recap what we talked about. Being able to get started, and being able to invest in yourself, making small sustainable changes, having the accountability aspect of it that adds the really key value we try and bring to the table in all of our programs in a variety of ways. And then being able to remove that weight, that hesitation, that delay, that procrastination, and taking action on that. Having said all that, that's the recap for you guys to go out to be able to take action. We have resources below for you that you can take action on, everywhere from free options that don't cost anything, all the way up to our courses and programs and options there where you can invest in yourself to a variety of degrees that make the most financial sense for you. But Cheryl, I kind of want to leave the stage to you for a second to leave the audience with maybe a last message or thoughts or something you want to share with them to kind of pull it all home.
Okay, well, I think, the bottom line is you need to surround yourself with positivity. And that's the beauty of this program and the programs that, Lifestyle of Fitness offer. It's always very, very positive. If you really dig into it, people that generally have some difficulty with weight issues, often their lives center around poor choices in food. When they go out with friends, you've got the pile of onion rings and the cheeseburgers and all of that, which is fine occasionally. And that's the other thing. I have eliminated the word diet completely. Since January, I've lost 70 pounds and a bunch of inches. I go to a CrossFit gym too. Am I a CrossFit candidate? No, not really. Can I jump on those 3 foot boxes? No, but I can do little stairs. I can do modifications. I did the Murph workout on Memorial Day, and that's a killer if you know what that is. Now, did they have to modify? Yeah, I didn't do the run. I did the row instead of the run. So again, it's all about modifications and working to your best self. There's absolutely nothing that I feel like I can't have. If it's my grandson's birthday and we're having birthday cake, I'll have birthday cake. I will make other adjustments during the course of the day or, maybe the few days before, anticipating what the food situation is going to be in the future. You have to plan and think ahead. But again, the positivity is the most important aspect. Surround yourself with people that have the knowledge, have the experience, and people that want you to succeed, not people that are going to try and blindside you. Here, just have a little bit of this or a little bit of that, or, well, you don't really need to go to the gym. Yes, I do need to go to the gym. Yes, I do need to plan my food in accordance with what is going to be healthy. So, I mean, those are the takeaways of years of experience in diet and exercise. And, I've been on every diet known to man. You can't, probably some that you aren't even aware of because they were before you were born. So, I know my diet programs. They don't work until your head's right.
Mm-hmm. I think the 2 key words that I just took away from what you just said are modification and moderation. Those are 2 key takeaways from what you just said. The modification to be able to exercise to what your capabilities are, and the moderation in your nutrition, that if you can plan stuff out, knowing I've got my grandson's birthday coming up and I want to have a slice of birthday cake, I can, but I need to modify or change my nutrition a little bit prior to going into that, because I want to enjoy that birthday cake or I want to enjoy a cheeseburger. So those 2 big takeaways are something that we all need to put in the back of our mind. There's no limitation to stopping us from a healthier lifestyle with those 2 things in our mind.
Absolutely.
And I think with all of those pieces and highlights, we could continue to roll it on, but I think wrapping it up with those just huge perspectives and actionable tasks for everyone. Cheryl, I appreciate you taking the time. Chuck, as always, of course, we appreciate you. Again, you guys can get more information on what we mentioned below from our courses, our programs. Right now we have our 28-day nutrition course is going live September 26th at 10 a.m. That's the live version, but you guys can always opt in for the course and do it on your own asynchronized time, and then catch up on the modules, as well as our pro coaching, our fitness vault, our workout series. We even have a free webinar September 23rd, Thursday evening at 8 p.m. If you guys want to see that, we'll also be sharing our replay in case you miss it. We got to make sure you throw in your email below on the link so we can send out the replay for you guys. And with all that being said, I will see you guys next time. Appreciate you guys, and cheers, y'all.